No, I'm not a writer.
Okay.
Combination of two things we're doing here. I haven't done meat-free Monday in a while. And two, it's part of the new in-season series. Corn, sweet corn is in season right now. Yo, recipe time. What I am doing is steaming, and I have 2 layers. I ain't trying to burn my hand for you, but 2 layers of corn here. 2 large sweet corn. And what we're gonna do, and the reason why we're steaming it, because I want to maintain all the flavor of that corn in the corn. We are doing what's called Souse, and this is a sort of a meat-free or a vegan, vegetarian version of Souse. I'm losing all my steam, but it's important that we cover this part. I'm going to steam it for about 10-15 minutes, but I want the flavor of that corn remain in there, that beautiful sweet corn, and it's going to get nice and crisp and everything. And when I say crisp, it's going to pop. Those seeds are going to pop. The kernels are going to pop when you eat them. When you make Souse, it's typically done with odds and ends. Chicken feet, pig feet, the snout, the ears, those different things. People don't want pork, they don't want chicken feet, they don't want those things. I'm showing you all. And I have those recipes if you're looking for traditional Souse. It is sort of a pickle slash soup slash you're drinking some adult beverages, you want to munch on this. Corn, right? I'm going to put the lid back on, and like I said, 10-15 minutes, we're going to steam it. Yes, I could have boiled the corn, but then all that water is gonna be tossed out. I don't want that water. Yes, we will use fresh water, maybe 2 to 3 cups of water, but a good Souse have layers of different flavors and textures. One, again, in season, cucumbers straight out of my garden. I've got some shadow benny, which is also called culantro, which is also out of my garden. If you cannot source the culantro or shadow benny as we call it, some people call it bandania, I would suggest using 2 tablespoons of chopped cilantro, which is also known as coriander. I want to go heavy on the herbs, so I'm going to go with some parsley and some chives. Full recipe over at CaribbeanPot.com. A sliced onion, and if you wanted to use a red onion, any onion you want to use, you can use. A Scotch bonnet pepper, optional, but I find, in my humble opinion, a good Souse will have a spicy element to it. Black pepper, more that sort of herbal note. 3 sprigs of thyme. I took the leaves alone. We'll need some sea salt, the juice of 2 limes, some garlic, and we'll also need water. The cucumber, peeled, well, washed, peeled, and sliced. And for a bit of color, half of it I left with a partial amount of the skin. And that is cucumbers out of my garden, as I said. The shadow benny, all chopped up. Thinly sliced onion, parsley, and again, notice how thin or how small I chopped everything up, right? The thyme leaves, and listen, if you want to give the thyme just a bit more chopping, you can certainly do that, but these leaves are really tiny, so I'm not too worried about it. The Scotch bonnet pepper, thinly sliced. However, I did leave the seeds and the white membrane from around the seeds in there because I want that heat. If you want to cut back on the amount of heat, you can remove the seeds and the white membrane surrounding the seeds and discard it. The other thing is, wash your hands with soap and water immediately after. If you touch your piggy or your eyes or anywhere else, listen, that is going to burn. You don't want that. I don't want that for you. Black pepper, chives. I like using sea salt. But you know, any salt that you like using, pink Himalayan, whatever salt, regular table salt, rock the salt that you like using. Garlic. And what I did was, you can crush the garlic, but I want pieces of that garlic in there, because what we're gonna do is, once we assemble this, I'm gonna encourage you to put it into the fridge and let that sort of marinate. And by having the big chunks of garlic in there, you will get, listen, when you take, you're gonna treat this almost like a soup in a cup or something. Those little pieces of garlic, proper things, man. But listen, if you wanted to crush the garlic, that is also an option. Souse means lemon or lime. In my case, I am using the juice of 2 limes, just for that sort of citrus note in there. It's going to have a bit of tartness as well. And I like doing it directly on the lime because what happens is it tends to sort of soften up on top of the onion. The acid tends to break it down just a little bit more, but small thing, you don't need to if you don't want to. I may have confused you. You do need the lime in there. What I meant is if you don't want to pour it onto the onion. Yeah? So, and listen, if you don't have fresh lime and you have all you have is the bottled stuff, listen, you can go ahead and use that. Yeah, it's totally up to you. What I'm going to do now is add some water in here, but first, my little tip to bring out all of those flavors in there more prominently, grab the corn while they're still hot and toss them into the mixture. Then we're going to give the mixture a toss. The warmth, the heat from the corn will allow us to waken up the garlic, the onion, and all of those herbs before we go in with cool water in there. This is just to waken up everything. Flip that around just to sort of warm through everything like that. Especially the Scotch bonnet pepper, the oils from that Scotch bonnet pepper is going to come out, and I just lost a piece of cucumber. Small thing. I will snack on that in a minute. My kitchen clean. You know what I mean? So I just want to make sure that warm corn is in there, because what's going to happen is the salt, the black pepper, everything is going to start getting infused into the corn, and as I said, it's going to, the warmth from the corn, that hot corn is going to, yo man, the flavors of everything is just going to come together. I'm going to give this about 4 minutes before I add the water. To pull it all together, there's that water. And you can adjust the amount of water that you put in there. You know, a lot of people like more of the broth. I am sort of a half and half broth, half all of the lovely textures and flavors that's in there. Of course, you need to give that a stir. Full recipe, printable, will be available at CaribbeanPod.com within the next 48 hours. I'm just going to give that a stir, stick it in the fridge, and you know, you serve it like a soup. Big pieces of corn, and you don't have to go overboard with the amount you give people as well. But like I said, adult beverages and you're good to go. It is not chicken foot sauce, it's not pig foot sauce, it's not pig ears or snout or anything like that. Some people even make it with smoked meats. Totally fine. This is just a vegan or vegetarian option for Meat Free Monday in season, because corn are in season, and the cucumbers, as I said. Please do the step I showed you. Do not boil the corn. Steam it if you can and add it in there hot just to enhance those flavors. Yeah. Let me throw a little stir now so you understand what's going on. See? Look at that water. That water is just proper things, boy. Proper things. And this here, ladies and gentlemen, is gonna be my quick lunch today. Yeah, I love corn, I love spicy. You know, the Scotch bonnet, everything in there. Yeah, I go on. Let me put back that garlic. Where you going? Come on, baby. I need you in there. You know I love you. Bad.